Welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where we bring enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics for the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. Here's your host, Max Anjanetta Jones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Carol's Courage to Confidence Corner. It's my segment of the Max Anjanetta Jones Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Have any of you seen Max's newest, what's the word I'm looking for? Her picture for her Facebook page? She tried to get her hair the same color as mine. Can you believe it? You talk about some work, right? Oh, come on. Max is a hoot. You know what she calls that color hair? She calls it sugar bomb. One day, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, she rung me up and said, "We have the same color hair." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, we don't." She's like, "Yeah, we do. Isn't yours called sugar bomb?" And I'm like, "No, mine is not called sugar bomb." How you guys doing today? You know, I'm your weather girl. And out here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it is gorgeous, albeit hot. So if you're chiming in today, I'm going to move over here and click on the comments. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Let me know what the weather's like where you are. Maybe even Miss Aruba will tell me what the weather's like where she is. And I think it's what, about midnight where you are? I don't know how you do it, girl. Not me. I am early to bed and early to rise. I'm excited to be here today. You want to put this down. June 29th. I'm going to be doing a free, you can call it a webinar, you can call it a workshop, you can call it whatever you want to. It's going to be invaluable. Yep. You want to be there. We're going to be talking about how to unleash the lioness leader that already resides inside of you. We're going to look at what's really holding you back and what's one or two things you can do to get unstuck and move forward, right? For those of you who don't know me, I'm a leadership empowerment coach. I help women. I don't just help them. I empower women to rise up to be the lioness leaders they were created to be, multiplying their incomes and their profits. And I like to say it like that because it's not all about business, right? It's about personal leadership. Signed up a new client yesterday, and one of the things I had her write down was, "How I do anything is how I do everything." And if you're following me on LinkedIn, you definitely want to go read my post from yesterday. I'm a little bit behind today, but it'll get on there. But read my post from yesterday. Connect with me on LinkedIn. On Tuesdays, we're going to be talking about leadership. Wednesdays, we're going to be talking about empowering questions. Thursdays, you got to come check and find out what it is. Where's my buddy, Jeff Purdue Atkins? Another friend going through a difficult time. Didn't want to reach out and ask for help. Finally got him to post out on Facebook. Remember, folks, if we don't advocate, if we don't ask for what we want, the answer is always no. If you're just looking at me and you're thinking I can read your mind, the answer is always going to be no. How many of you, let me know in the chat, how many of you, Aruba says, "It's midnight here and very hot summers." I bet it is. I woke up this morning at 4:35. It was already 80 degrees. A lot of the times in the summer here, Aruba, it never goes below 80 degrees. And when you factor in, sometimes we have like 90% humidity first thing in the morning. It's like, I don't know if I said this on the show last week, but I was doing a Facebook Live show on my page. And I talked about how here in Florida, we have 4 seasons. We have summer, more summer, and less summer. And someone put it in the chat. They said, "Well, what's it really like there in the summertime, Carol?" I said, "You really want to know? Go take a really hot shower and get out. Don't dry off. Just put your clothes on." That's what it's like in all this humidity. Aruba was reminding me that last week, and I did not go back and watch last week's show, that I had commented on the fact that there was a chapter in a book that I really, really wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, I'll be totally transparent. I don't remember which chapter that is or which book, because I rarely read one book at a time, beginning to end. Oftentimes I'm working in 3 or 4, maybe even 5 books at a time. Most of the books I read are for personal development, business, or coaching, not only to be better for myself in personal development, so that I can be better for my clients and those that I get to lead. Today, the luncheon was the Women's Executive Club luncheon. It was our last luncheon of the fiscal year. And we always typically stay and we give out cocktail tickets. We let the ladies have a couple of free drinks and socialize towards the end of the year. And it was supposed to be on Friday. So don't you know, I blocked all Friday afternoon off. I'm like, I'm all about, let's sit down and have a cocktail and get to know each other better. Whoops. Just a couple of weeks ago, they moved it from Friday to Wednesday. Well, you know, I'm here on Wednesdays at 3:00. And if you haven't been catching up on Max's show, No Home Training, I'm there at 4:00. Come join me. I'll be there again today, watching those TikTok videos, looking at some amazing things. But when we talk about how I do anything is how I do everything, most people don't want to look at that. Me included. Sometimes I see something in my behavior, or maybe it's a habit that I recognize as a habit that's no longer serving me. And I'm like, ugh, right? So I get to look at where else is that showing up for me in my life, because it is. I may not be aware of it. It might be right outside my jar, but I'm doing it. Are you willing to call those things into your awareness, right? Awareness is the first step to getting better. I'm going to totally digress and talk about manifesting for a second, because I'm just starting to learn about that. I mean, I'm not even a novice. I'm like at beginner level. But about 3 months ago, I went to the Social Impact Breakfast, all for nonprofits. And 2 of the things they were raffling were massages. And I'm like, that massage with that guy's mine. I was really in need of a good deep tissue massage. And I won the massage. So today, we had asked all the past presidents of the Women's Executive Club to bring a gift, something nice that we could raffle off. We're raising funds for our women, our WEW scholarship, right? Women Empowering Women Scholarship. We've had some great recipients. This is our last opportunity to raise money for that scholarship this fiscal year. So one of the presidents wrote back to me last night and said, I'll bring a bottle of wine and I'm going to bring a good bottle of bourbon. You know what I said out loud? That bourbon's mine. Now, I don't even typically buy raffle tickets there. I'm so busy working 9.5 times out of 10, I don't even sit down to eat lunch. Now, I'll eventually eat, albeit often I'm either standing up or it's when everything is done. I sit down and everybody's leaving. That's when I eat. But I love it. I love taking care of these ladies and leading the way. Today we played a great get to know you game. It was a hoot. So much fun. I'm pausing because I had to catch my train of thought. Oh yeah. So last night when I saw that email said that bourbon's mine. Like I said, I don't typically buy raffle tickets. Today I bought 10. I said, I'm contributing because that bourbon is mine. Lo and behold, guess what I won? I won the bourbon. Holy mackerel. You can't even buy it in the state of Florida. You can't even ship it in. She brought it in. And it just so happened when I was out at the valet to get my car to come see here and talk to you guys, up rocks Roz. And I said, look what I won. She said, good for you. She said, do you like rye? I said, I love a good rye. She goes, great. I got a whole box of it at home. I'll bring you another bottle. Come on, folks. It's good to have friends in high places. And it's good to let people know what you really like and what you really want. Otherwise, she'd have never known. You know, I'm all about teaching you something, sharing experiences with you, sharing wisdom. I want you to grow. I want you to improve. I want you to have joy on the inside so that you can attract more happiness on the outside. What is it? What one thing do you want from me that you haven't received yet? Here's a powerful question. Is there a particular topic? Is there a particular lesson? Is there a piece of wisdom or a training that you haven't received yet that you think, oh, if Carol would just teach me that? Let me know in the chat. Now, those of you who follow me, even if you're over on my Facebook page, where I do Carol's Courage to Confidence Corner, my tribe loves when I read out of this book. So we're going to look at 2 books today. This was Until Today by Iyanla Vanzant. For those of you who don't know Iyanla Vanzant, She was the spiritual guru on the Oprah Winfrey Show and now has her own show on the OWN network, the Oprah Winfrey Network. And she's one of the foremost breathwork coaches. I don't know if it's in the country or in the world, but definitely in the country. This is her book. It's a daily, personal development, encouragement book. And there have been years when I've read it front to back every single day and not missed a day. And that was my intention this year. I didn't make it. I've missed a few days. But today we're going to talk about, I am now willing to forgive myself for believing there is something wrong with being wrong about some things. Put it in the chat. How many of you battle the need to be right? If that's you and you're listening, I want you to write this down. Tape it to your dashboard, tape it to your refrigerator, put it in your shower door, put it next to your nightstand on your bed. I would rather be happy than right. Right is all about the ego. Right does what? Creates arguments. Because what? Somebody's trying to be right. What if you could just advocate for understanding, for cooperation, for collaboration, for community, for support, and not about being right? She says, are you so afraid of doing things wrong that you won't do anything at all? Come on, I've been there. Oh my God. I grew up in such a competitive athletic family between two brothers. And I got into 8th grade, I think it was. We had PE. You youngins, you don't even know what physical education is because you don't do it anymore. And I think that's unfortunate. Much healthier to get outside and get some sunshine than sit inside on a computer or on your phone all day. That's for another topic. But this particular semester, we were learning gymnastics. Now, I can't do gymnastics. At the time, I played tackle football, baseball, softball, basketball. I could swim. Ooh, I could not do gymnastics. Now, the PE teacher, the coach, told me to get on the mat and do 5 forward rolls. You know what they are, somersaults, 5 forward rolls in a row. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. She's like, you're going to get an F if you don't do it. I don't get Fs. I was an A. I was on the honor society. I was an A student. I'm like, an F. I got down on that mat and I did my 5 rolls and I stood up and all I could see was gray. I couldn't see anything. And I had this internal compulsion to run. And I couldn't even see where I was going. And I began to run like a bat out of hell. I ran right into a brick wall. Fell over. Coach thought I was putting on a show. Now, there was a girl who was in 9th grade. She was the, big fish in a small pond. And she was the tough girl, if you will. She didn't take crap from anybody. And she laid into that teacher about couldn't that teacher tell something was wrong with me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I remember going home that night and telling my dad. I said, Dad, I did all these flips. And I got up and I couldn't see. And I ran right into a wall. Man, I hit my head and the teacher was doing this. My dad starts laughing. He says, Carol, when I was in college and I was playing football, I got the ball and I got flipped. But when I got flipped, I landed on my feet and I started running. But I had no idea that I was running towards the wrong end zone. He said I ran all the way the wrong way and scored a touchdown for somebody else, the other team. Who does that? Now, it turns out there's actually a condition. It's not a disease. It's like some condition in their inner ear that causes you to do that. I got a C that year, only C I ever got in school. But I was willing to do it. What are you willing to do? Aruba went back. Thank you. And looked for me. She said, the book's name is The Last Arrow by Erwin Raphael McManus. Do you know that I almost pulled that off of my shelf before I came in here and I did not? But thank you for that. We're probably going to get to that book next week because otherwise I'm going to have to get up, go to the back of the house and get the book. Phenomenal book. Thank you for that. Remind me, we might not talk about it next week if we have guests, but I will put this in my calendar for the first Wednesday in July which I think is July the 4th, isn't it? Is anybody going to show up on July the 4th? That's a major holiday here in the United States. It could just be me in Aruba. You never know. How many times have you convinced yourself that something is right for you to do, only to allow yourself to be blown off course by someone else who says, that's wrong? Is it possible that you dwell in a past of things wrong to such a degree that you now with being wrong? When you take a step in a direction that could ultimately lead you off course, wrong lets you know that you get to change directions. If you choose something or someone that is less than worthy of who you are, wrong lets you know that you get to do what? Make another choice. I want you to listen to my language, folks. If I'm reading this, she says need. And every need, I say get to. Get to comes from a place of power because it comes from a place of choice, and there's power in choice. When you say I need or I have to or I must, you're coming from lack, not from abundance. You're coming from no choice. If you decide to take on something that you really are not prepared to handle, wrong lets you know what skills you get to build, what information you get to acquire, and what things you can do well and what things you cannot. When you get right down to it, wrong is life's way of letting you know what you need to know in order to get the right results for your efforts. Now, what's wrong with that? Put it in the chat. What's wrong with being wrong? All this judgment we have around not being perfect, wanting to get it right, wanting to be right. That's about the ego, folks. That's not about your authentic self. If you have a fear of being wrong, go back into your history. Allow yourself to remember the first time you were told you were wrong. Holy mackerel. Who can remember the first time your parents told you you were wrong? Oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to tell you my Coca-Cola story here in just a second. Allow yourself to hear the words, feel the feelings, and remember the experience. If you can place yourself in the midst of that experience, forgive yourself for believing that there is something wrong with being wrong. Until today, you may have allowed yourself to believe that if you did the wrong things, you would not recover. Just for today, take a risk. Do something you fear might be wrong, and you may discover that you were wrong. Which did what? It made you right. You were wrong about being wrong, so you were right. Are you willing? Today, I'm devoted to forgiving myself for believing I could ever do anything wrong. Right? She says wrong is necessary. Mistakes are necessary. People call them failures. Oh my God, it's only a failure if you fail to get up and try again. Otherwise, it's just a learning lesson. I get my clients to embed that through neurolinguistic programming. We look at what they did. We look at their results without judgment. We don't say, oh, that sucked. We go, that worked really well. This did not get me the result that I wanted to get. Let's tweak this. And we pivot and we tweak it. And then we can do what? We can measure it to get results, because only what you can measure can you manage. Folks, if you're not looking at your results and you want your business to grow, if you're not looking at your numbers, not going to grow. Because you get to manage what you can measure. If you're not measuring, you have nothing on which to go on. Nothing on which to go on. So the book I picked up for us, another new book I'm reading by Bridget Hom. I actually was introduced to her through a friend on LinkedIn. Turns out she's up in Boca Raton. That's where I was living for a few months, house sitting. And she invited me to go to Journey Church. And I'm so glad I went. It was a great, great experience. And she says, I'm going to send you a copy of my book for free. And the book is called Stuck on Ready. Now, when I first saw this title, I thought of two different things. How many of us are getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready? Never taking action. I have this one lady who's been getting ready, going to hire me, dancing around me for almost 2 years. 2 years. And I'm telling you, by the time she finally makes a decision, I'm not going to have any room in my private coaching practice. I only take on so many clients at a time, right? I am creating a new group program. Maybe she'll be a fit for that, even though I know she likes private. I work with action takers. She's not an action taker. Are you? Are you willing to invest in you? Are you just looking for somebody to come save you? The chances of somebody coming and handing you money to invest in your own personal development, they're pretty slim. Now, if you went and asked, you might have a family member who would stand for you. What does that mean? You'd say, hey, I need $10,000 for this coaching program, and here's what I believe I'm going to get out of it, and then this is what I'm going to do with it. And they say, I believe you. I believe you, and I believe in you, right? And they'll front you the money. But when we invest in ourselves, we get to have skin in the game, which means it can't be so little of amount of money that you won't even miss it, right? Had a guy one time wanted me to speak in this open forum in this open cafe. He said, we'll charge everybody $10 at the door. I said, no, you won't. Ain't nobody coming. $10 is not going to make that big of an impact on people. I said, you get to poll the audience. Find out at what investment level would it hurt them to not show up. It wasn't $10. It wasn't $35. It was $50. Majority of people say, if I invested $50, I'm going to show up, see if I get my money's worth. What are you willing to do to have what you say you want? So stuck on ready can be two things. It can be, are you stuck on ready? I'm getting ready to get ready to get ready and never taking action. I'm talking a good game. Or you can take Bridget's viewpoint. And when she says stuck on ready, she means I'm always ready for whatever comes. I'm always ready to say yes and then figure it out. She says, say yes and figure it out. One of the things she wrote is how I don't know the statistics, they're huge. Like we have 90,000 thoughts a day and 80,000 of them are negative, and 90% of those we repeat over and over and over every day. We're not even aware. Are you thinking about what you're thinking about? Joyce Myers talks about that, doesn't she? We get to think about what we're thinking about. Are you just going through life on autopilot and wondering how come you're getting the same results? You keep doing the same thing. So one of the things she says is write down one negative thought that you want to fire in your life or business today. What's one negative thought that's just bugging the hell out of you that you want to just fire it, get rid of it so it doesn't show up again? She said, hire a new and positive idea like success, strategy, or serenity, and write down how you will implement that to manifest that positive shift today. Because whatever you sell yourself on in your mental team will decide your destination. How many of you say, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I hate sales. You're selling every day. You must sell yourself every day to whoever's in front of you, whether it's business, relationships, something you're trying to negotiate at a store, right? At a garage. Maybe you're just trying to get somebody to believe in you. She says, as an entrepreneur, note that you have 3 accounts. You might want to write these down, folks. You have 3 accounts in your business. You have your money account, which is the one we focused on the most, right? And what do we focus on? There's not enough in there, not enough in there, not enough in there. Well, hello. If that's what your focus is, that's what you're going to manifest. Not enough in there. She says you also have your serenity account. What are you doing to take care of yourself and your mental mindset and your serenity? And your sanity account. Serenity and sanity are not quite the same thing. She says when you hire the wrong mental team, you go into the red in your serenity and sanity accounts, and sometimes even in your real bank account. How is that possible? Because how we do anything is how we do everything. They're all intertwined. She says a good rule of thumb is to notice if you're feeling out of your mind, you're probably in somebody else's. Hello? And if you're in somebody else's, then you're definitely out of your mind. Come on, folks. That's good. Put that in the chat. That's a good one. When you're constantly thinking about what others think about you, it negatively affects you. We've said it before. Other people's opinions and judgments of you are none of your business. They're not about you. They're about them. Same thing goes for you. Are you aware how often you judge other people? When that judgment comes up, are you willing to look at yourself and go, ooh, what is this showing me about me? Because that's what it is. Our judgments and opinions of other people are not about them. They're about us. She says, when you're constantly thinking about what others think about you, it negatively affects you. It's officially called codependent thinking, meaning you're in a relationship with your thoughts about people instead of enjoying relationships with people. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a writer downer, folks. Are you in a relationship with your thoughts about people? Are you actually in a relationship with those people, both in business and in personal? Codependent behaviors in business practices make you feel like a crazy person, and you lose interest in prospecting. You lose sight of your vision of your future successful self and overall sabotage positive business behaviors. You deserve to stop spending your peace of mind and start getting results through relationships with real people. When we practice codependent thinking in business, we sabotage ourselves by assuming we know what others want, ultimately creating unwanted stress, anxiety, and pressure on our performance in sales. You know, I tell my clients this all the time. You don't create a program, you don't create a class, and then go try to sell it. You go find out what your people want, and then you create it. How do you do that? Maybe you email them. Maybe you pick up the phone and call them. Maybe you do a poll, whether it's a Facebook poll, a LinkedIn poll. Perhaps you do surveys. Ask them what they want. Create it and give it to them. Here's the thing, when you're creating a group program, literally, you really only have to be a week ahead, 2 weeks at the most. Because if you're a week ahead and you know what content you can deliver on that particular day, and then have your hot seating, then have your Q&As, then give them homework for accountability to go home to, you get to go prepare for the following week. And as you do it like that, guess what you're learning? Your people in the group are telling you what they really want, or you're seeing and hearing what their real challenges are. So you get to craft material around that. How many times have you ever been a course or a coaching class, a group, thinking if they would just teach me this, if we would just practice this, or if we would just go over this. Now, all those just, those are minimizers, because you don't really feel the pain of how big it is to be invested and then not getting what you want or what you thought you were going to get out of the program. What one thing? What one thing? One thing, folks, what one thing is the beginning of a very empowering question. It's June. In 3 weeks, we're going to be at the end of the first half of the year. Where are you on your goals? Where are you on the things that you committed to in January that you were going to get done? The bottom line is nobody does it alone. And if you're out there struggling, trying to do it alone, thinking, I don't have the money, I don't have this, Folks, you think it's always about having the resources. It's about being resourceful. If you really want something and you know it can impact and change your life for the positive, what are you willing to do to get it? I know a guy that went and sold, he had an old Harley, went and sold his Harley. Got into the coaching program. 6 months later, he was making so much more money than he was before. He bought a brand new Harley, much more expensive Harley. Right? I know people that have taken money out of their 401k. That's probably the best thing you could do. You're going to pay yourself back. You're going to pay yourself back plus interest. Now, it's a much lower interest rate than a credit card. But the bottom line is when you're done, you now have more money in your 401k than you did before. And you got the benefit of investing in you in whatever coaching program that you chose, or whatever coach that you chose. My clients get great results. Perhaps in July, We'll bring one of them on. Let them talk to you. You can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. One of my clients says, Carol is relentless to make sure you get good results. Of course I am. I don't show up in these coaching sessions for me. I show up for you. That's what lights me up. When you get your changes, you get your breakthroughs, you get lit up, if you will. And I don't mean on alcohol. You get lit up by the changes in what's going on in your life. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to have someone who's willing to hold your hand and be right there by you? Not letting you quit when you want to quit. You've heard me say it before, folks. My next book is called You Can't Read the Label When You're Inside a Jar. And we're all in a jar. But I can read your label, and I can help you write a new label. That new label that will allow you to step in to who you were truly created to be and let go of that story that's keeping you in the past. Are you ready? Today's the day. Jeff posted it on LinkedIn. He gave me the credit. He said, Carol Boston says one day is not a day of the week. If you keep saying, I'm going to do it one day doesn't come because one day is not a day of the week. It's not a day of the month, not a day of the year. What are you willing to do for you? It's time to wrap up the show. I can't believe 30 minutes went by so fast. This has been Carol Boston, Carol's Courage to Confidence Corner. I empower women to rise up and be the lioness leaders they were created to be, multiplying their incomes and their profits. Is that you? Are you ready to change your life? Private message me. My internet just took a little hit. I love you guys. Come back next week. We'll have a couple of 2-3 people we're going to interview. And if you're interested to know what it looks like to work with me and to achieve the results that you've just been waiting and longing to achieve, reach out, private message me. Until then, blessings to you. Make it a great day. Make it a great week. Make every moment count. Bless you.
The Intuitive Entrepreneur Show is hosted by Max and Janetta Jones and is brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, business, community, and life. This has been a production of True Awesome Life Productions, who asked, what does your true awesome life look like? Start that journey today at trueawesomelife.com. For more information on this or past episodes, go to the Intuitive